Hello everyone, I'm the Real Rookie, just a guy who's trying to keep it real. Today I'll be reviewing a little-known Japanese animated film called Belladonna of Sadness, released in 1973. The only way I found out about this film was from Chris Stuckman's complete anime collection video. In the video, he picked up his unwrapped copy of Belladonna of Sadness and didn't say much about it, which kind of got me interested in the film. He also hasn't done a review about this movie yet, which makes me want to spread the word of this film to those who have never seen or heard of it. Quick trigger warning before I start the review. There are depictions of sexual assault in this movie that I will be discussing. Of course, I won't be showing it because YouTube, but if you are sensitive to these topics, then I would advise you leave the video now. Something else I want to mention before I start this review is that this isn't going to be like a weekly thing or anything. I'll just review stuff whenever I feel like it. Also, I won't be reviewing just movies either. I'll look at all sorts of things like TV shows, music, more specifically albums, and I'll even do things like Techmoan, where I'll take a look back at an older format like VHS or audio cassettes. On with the review. When Belladonna of Sadness was first released in 1973, it bombed at the box office. It completely flopped. In fact, it did so bad that it bankrupted the company that released it. This film was mainly shown in Japan, but it did get a few small releases in the UK and in the US, but nothing large enough for the movie to make its money back. Interestingly, 40 years after the film was released, a team of people decided to restore the film and re-release it. Belladonna of Sadness was then re-released in 2016, both in theaters and on Blu-ray. Let me just say that before I start this review, that this movie is weird. Like, really weird. Like, I just took a couple of mushrooms and I still think this movie is kind of whack. Like I mentioned before, the movie is pretty graphic, but it uses that as an interesting mechanic throughout the movie. I know that sounds kind of strange, but I'll describe it in greater detail later in the review. The story of Belladonna of Sadness revolves around Jane and Jean, but mostly Jane, who are a newlywed couple. After being married, they need to pay the king, but they don't have enough money, so the king is all like, "Nah man, we can't have that," and orders the baron and his courtiers to rape Jane and forces Jean out of the castle. A little later, Jane comes home where Jean is waiting for her. When he sees her traumatized by what she has gone through, he comforts her, and they discuss how they are going to move on from this tragedy. That night while she is sleeping, Jane is met by the devil, who looks like a penis. Yes, I am serious. He offers to give Jane his power, so she can enact revenge on those who have wronged her. Considering the events that have happened already, you can probably tell what he has to do to give her his power. The rest of the film, without giving too much away, is Jane constantly having to choose the devil's path or not, which leaves her with conflicting ideas about which is the right path to follow. This is a 2D hand-drawn Japanese animated movie, but it isn't animated in a traditional Japanese art style. In fact, there isn't much animation to begin with. There is only animation whenever it is needed. When it is animated, it looks really good. Most of the movie consists of still pictures that show a single drawing that either zoom in, zoom out, or move the image to give you a different perspective of the scene. The movie is very dialogue heavy, but it never gets to a point where it gets boring. Although the movie isn't dubbed, the voice acting is filled with a lot of emotion. You can really feel when a character is feeling dread or sadness. Almost all the dialogue is important, and very rarely does it feel like exposition. It's a very minimalist and interesting take on animation that I've never seen before. The music sounds like something straight out of the 70s. If you have ever heard the Beatles, then you probably have a good idea what the soundtrack for this movie sounds like. Here are some samples that hopefully YouTube won't copyright claim me for. Belladonna of Sadness is quite an artsy film, with pretty crazy and psychedelic visuals. As I've said before, Jane gets raped in the film. Yes, they show it. But it's not like straight up penis in vagina rape. It's depicted as a big red throbbing stalactite going between her legs and into her body as her body is ripped in half from her crotch and turned into red bats. That's the type of psychedelic visuals we're talking about here. Another thing I want to mention is whenever she asks for the devil's power, he has to have sex with her. He never rapes her though. She must consent to the sex in order to receive his power. It's almost like there's a message there about how we all have the free will to make good or bad decisions. No one forces you to make those bad decisions whenever that opportunity is brought up to you. I can't recommend Belladonna of Sadness enough. I've never seen a Japanese animated film, let alone any film like this. This film needs to be talked about by more people, and in general just needs more attention. Here's my rating scale. I'm giving Belladonna of Sadness an A. If you want to watch Belladonna of Sadness, you can rent it on most rental websites like YouTube and Amazon. If you want to own Belladonna of Sadness, there is a Blu-ray copy of the movie, but no DVD, which is pretty odd. I couldn't find the Blu-ray on Amazon, but I was able to find it on eBay from secondhand sellers, which is how I got my copy. Later, I found out about this great website called Blu-ray.com that tells you which releases you can get on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays, and which online stores sell them. Usually they only give you the options between Amazon and eBay though. Blu-ray.com also tells you about deals you can get on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays. I have found great movies and box sets for really low prices on that website. I kind of wish I knew about them before ordering Belladonna of Sadness from eBay. I could have bought it brand new if I used their website, but that's why I'm telling you about it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'm The Real Rookie, and it's been real.